G'day everyone, Shane from BMX Ultra.
What's up, guys? This is Cheeto the Mad Viking, and today we race and pillage with BMX Ultra magazine.
Particularly just wanted to talk to you about your YouTube channel, get a bit about your background, about you, and then just talk about the fun side of BMX. A lot of people take it way too seriously. I'm sure you see that a lot.
Yeah, way too much. So I have this thing that I say about BMX. I simplified it as much as I could, and all it is, all we do out there is we ride a child's toy competitively, and it really doesn't have to be any more involved than that. And I just see way too many people take it just too far. It's like you forget that this is supposed to be something fun, and it's like, not only are you robbing yourself from having a good time by not making it fun, but you're also teaching the youngsters that are the future of the sport that this isn't fun, it's serious, when, in my opinion, that's the wrong way to do it.
Get you to tell people your racing background.
Let's see. Well, I've been on my bike off and on since I was 5 years old, so around 1989. I've been at the tracks before. I didn't really get too serious into racing. It was kind of just something I was there doing. But I'd be there for a little while, and then something would happen where it just wasn't fun like it was supposed to be, and I just would stop going. And then I'd get together with my group of friends, and they'd go to the trails, and I'd show up on my bike, and I'd watch, because I've always been a heavy guy, so I never really got seriously into dirt jumping either, because for me, my size plus high jumps equals just broken parts, broken bones, unnecessary hospital visits. So I was always around BMX. I was always involved in BMX, but it wasn't until 2019, January of 2019, when we went to the USA BMX Nationals in Las Vegas for my dad to compete, and my cousin were competing, and they talked me into signing up. So I signed up for a membership for my first official USA BMX membership at the Nationals in January of 2019 in Las Vegas, and just had no idea. I'm like, I mean, how bad could it be, right? I'm like, I have a 20-inch, that I've had. I mean, my race bike is a 2006 Bubba Harris signature Redline Flight that I bought brand new, thinking I was going to go to the track and race it. I went to the track for a free trial day, and that was it. I was like, no, I can't do this. And so the bike just sat in a closet until 2019, when my dad got back into it. He's an old school racer, and he got back into it. My cousin got into it, and they're like, we're going to the Nationals. I'm like, I own a timeshare right next to the Vegas track. Let's all go together. And they woke me up Saturday morning. They woke me up, and they're like, dude, we have you halfway signed up. You just need to come sign a paper. And I'm like, I don't know. But they twisted my arm, and I signed up. And I just, the atmosphere in Vegas, if you it's just small indoor track surrounded by grandstands. Even being the first time out there, you just felt like a rock star in that atmosphere. And it was just instantly adrenaline and just addiction. And I was like, yes. From that weekend forward, I knew that BMX needed to be a part of my life for the rest of it, regardless. Because you don't get that sensation doing anything else. You don't get that high of being on a track and dicing it up, shoulder to shoulder, switching positions, and just the overall vibe of the camaraderie and everything all mixed together into one little ball of joy. You don't get that anywhere else. I've been there, I've done that, I've done a lot of things to try and keep myself occupied in a non-self-destructive fashion. And when I found BMX, I was like, this is I wish that I didn't rob myself of these experiences so much as a kid, because I let other people make it not fun for me. So I chose to not get involved as deeply as I now am as an adult.
You did say you got a bit of a buzz out of the whole environment that the Vegas National created. Do you get that same buzz from racing locals?
Oh, absolutely. I have a lot of fun racing local races. I've built up such a strong bond with pretty much any track I go to, the local riders. I mean, I can drive 7 hours in either direction from my home for even just a local race because I was bored or I was driving down there anyway. And I have friends, I have fans, I have what feels like family wherever I go, even at a local race. So I could be stuck racing 16 experts and I'm still going to have a great time and I'm still going to get that buzz because for me, it doesn't just last from the gate to the finish line. Like I'm having a great time joking around and staging. As soon as I can breathe again after the finish line, I'm having a great time joking around with the people I raced, with other people, anyone within earshot. I guess it's kind of just like my undying need to be the center of attention always, you know, that only child vibe.
Is that how the YouTube channel started, or was that started before you even got into BMX?
No, my current, I mean, I tried doing a YouTube channel before because I was always doing stupid things. And I'm like, people like watching fat people doing stupid things. So I thought that I would just like start putting up videos. But I didn't realize when I first put up a YouTube channel, I mean, we're talking probably 15 years ago. I didn't realize that you needed to be motivated to actually go out and do these things. It seems simple to be like, oh, I'll just record something and put it on the internet. But then to put that into practice is like, a lot of the time I'm too lazy to do it. And back then I didn't really have anything to focus on. Whereas now it's easy. I'm going to the track, I'm racing anyway. As long as I've got someone that will operate the camera for me, then I can record a video. And if I don't, then wherever I'm at, I'll find something else to go do, whether it's like disc golf or axe throwing or something like that, where I can, you know, set my camera up and just film us messing around. You know, I decided that now that I have such a following in the community and everybody enjoys seeing me, not just on the bike, but just in general. A lot of the times I hear people tell me, it's good that you came out. We've missed you. It just doesn't feel the same without you being out here. So I felt that that was a way for me to connect with my fans, even when I'm not at the track, because they have told me my absence is definitely missed. So I'm just trying to give people access to me anytime they want, really. So that was kind of the vibe of putting my YouTube channel together.
What is the local for you? What's your local track?
Well, my local track was Santa Clara Pal BMX in Santa Clara. That being gone now, I have like an hour and a half drive north to get to Manzanita Park BMX in Prunedale, or about an hour and a half drive south to get to Spreckles Park in Manteca, California, which is actually where my team is based out of. But it's always hotter there, and I don't do well in the heat, so I tend to go down south a lot more than I go north.
Oh, wow. You'd want to be keen to be able to travel an hour and a half just to get to a local track.
Yeah, that's why since my local track did shut down, I mean, it's 15 minutes from my house. And I could ride there, you know, Tuesday night, Friday night, Sunday morning, and Saturday was still open to travel to go wherever. Now it's like with the Bay Area traffic, even though the Manteca track is like, I don't know, 52 miles away, and the Prunedale track is like 48 miles away. It takes me like 3 hours sometimes to get to one of them if I were to try and get there on a weekday. So since the Santa Clara Pell track closed, my riding has just fallen off a cliff. I haven't had access to it. And I can really feel it when I get on the track too. I'm nowhere near the rider I was 2 years ago. So it's like, it is difficult. But if I want to get on track, I do have to drive that distance to go.
Are there a lot of BMX racers in your area that are left in the same situation?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess the track at Santa Clara is still open. The Police Activities League kept it open for like a practice facility and are charging people to use the track so that they have a place to ride. But if you do BMX and you race BMX, you know that you don't get a race lap anywhere other than being in a race. So like practice for me, I use practice pretty much as one lap to just get the legs pumping and the blood flowing. And then a second lap is where I'll go and just kind of like mentally take notes of hazards along the track and get a feel for if there is something that I need to focus on that my instincts aren't just going to automatically be able to get me through it. Then I'll be aware of that part of the track. But that's pretty much it. I mean, even if it's the first time I've ever been to a track, 2 laps, maybe 3 at absolute most, just to get a feel of the layout and find my lines in the turns and stuff like that. And then it's just save the legs, save the legs for racing. So yeah.
I've raced in the States a few times, and the tracks are very different there than they are here. They're a lot more forgiving, a lot more, I guess, family friendly. They seem to be challenging for everyone across the board. But if your skill level was lower and you weren't jumping anything, you could safely pump through it. It's a bit different here. They're a bit more UCI style, whereas steeper and deeper jumps. But I've always, like, all of my favorite tracks are in America. They're just so much more fun to ride because you worry less about the safety factor and think more about the challenge of just riding a BMX track.
Yeah.
Have you ridden any more technical tracks?
Oh, absolutely.
And which ones are they?
We actually just went to a Gold Cup race and a state race back-to-back days out in a little peninsula just under the Oregon border, still in California, called Samoa. And I actually did put a video up of that race. That track was quite different than what I'm used to. And if you were listening to the chatter of the riders in the pits after practices, like, nobody liked that track because, one, the starting hill was really steep, so it got you going extremely fast. And then half of the first straightaway was like this gigantic obstacle, all just like hunked into one thing that was like uphill for like a third of the straightaway into the turns. And the turns were interesting. They were sharp, but they weren't really like hollowed out berms. They were kind of built more like wall rides. So people that are used to these perfect hollowed out paved turns get to this track and they're like, oh man, the straightaways are terrible. Everything is so lippy and the there's nowhere to pass because it was only like a 6 foot wide track. So like once you got halfway down the first straightaway, finding places to pass was difficult. But like I'm hearing everybody complain and whine about the track. And so like I finally got on the track and I took 2 laps just to realize, okay, there's nothing on this track that my instincts can't get me through in a pinch, so I'm not even going to stress out about it, and just stayed calm and didn't let it get in my head. A lot of people I ride with just get in their head so much, and I try so hard to just tell them, just relax, trust your equipment, trust your skills, and have fun with it. And before you know it, you're going to be across the finish line and have probably put down your fastest lap because you weren't stiff, you weren't nervous, you just relax, you have fun, and let your instincts take you because they'll get you there. They will.
What would you say was your favorite track that you've raced in the time you've been racing?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I always loved Las Vegas just because it was short enough that even guys like me that had really bad cardio, like we can sprint from pin to post and still have a conversation just like this at the end of it instead of like, give me 20 minutes or a cheeseburger, you know. So I like the tight cornering tracks like Las Vegas. I really enjoyed, we went to Kingman, Arizona when Harry Leary was running that track. That was a fun little track too. I like tight tracks with sharp turns because I'm able to find lines in the corners that a lot of people don't take. So I tend to do cornering really well. So anything that's got like tricky turns as far as the general consensus is, I tend to do well on. So yeah, Vegas was one of my favorites. I really did like Kingman. As far as like semi-local to me, obviously, there's Oak Creek BMX in Roseville, California. That's been a long time track. That's just been a fun track. Even after they rebuild it, it always seems to have like a classic feel to it, just slightly more modern. So that one's always a fun track to ride. Manzanita Park up in Prunedale. That one I always enjoy. That one's a pretty downhill track too. So any track that I have to pedal less and still go fast, I'm all for it. So I really do enjoy Manzanita. Another one that sticks out in my head down in Southern California was Ukaipa. That track was pretty cool. I think that's the one that like Dick Cheeseburger's from. I think that's his local track. But I went down there one time for a state race a couple years back because our state races were all rained out here at the time. And that was a really fun track too. I wish I could go back, but it's hard to find time to get down to a track that's like 8 hours away.
Well, some of those tracks you were talking about, Arizona and Vegas, are a bit of a drive for you, aren't they?
Yeah, but those are tracks you go to for like the nationals, unless, like I said, the state race at Ukaipa was a rare thing because like our state races were all rained out, and it's like, well, we can make a weekend of it and go get a state race, so let's go. But I'm totally fine driving. I love being on the road. I love experiencing tracks that I haven't been to. Like when I started racing as an adult, like I said, you know what? Okay, like now that I'm in charge and I can do what I want and I can decide where we're going, like this is going to be a good time. Like there's not going to be anything that stops me from wanting to drive to, Shasta Lake 6 hours if I want to for a weekend just because I'm bored of the tracks around here. So yeah, I really enjoy the traveling element of it, and always cool if I can get a cheap hotel with a nice swimming pool, but free breakfast, that's all good too.
You said your dad rode and your partner races as well?
My cousin, my cousin was into it for a little while until he had a serious injury that put him out with a broken heel. He was doing it off and on as a kid. And my dad started like in 91 or 92. He started riding and always in the cruiser class. And 36, 40 cruiser, he was like nag 1 for a minute. I think he was Gold Cup 1, Gold Cup 2, or something like that at one point. And then he had a career-ending injury with a bad break with his hand, racing a guy named Alan Thompson that he always had really good battles with as I was growing up. They were always battling back and forth. And so that put him out of BMX for a while. And now that he's older and retired and doesn't have to worry about being too injured to go to work, I had bought him a big wheel bike just to cruise around the neighborhood because I felt bad that he was always just home bored. And he rode it a couple times. He's like, it's nice and all, but it just makes me want to get on a BMX track. So I can't take this on a BMX track. And I'm like, brother, say the word and I will sell this thing and I will buy you a race bike and we will get you on the track. And he said, word. So we did it, and I put him back on that bike. And then when him and my cousin, we went to that was like mid-season 2018. So their first national was January 2019 when we all went to Vegas together, and I got my official career beginning. It's fun. It's so fun to travel with your family and go as a group and your friends that become your family. It's so cool. There's been more than one occasion where I rented like an 18-passenger van and just was like, I got 2 hotel rooms with 2 beds each. I've got 3 extra cots. Like, if you guys want to go, everybody that wants to go, just pitch in like $150 towards gas and towards the rooms, and like we just will fill the van with people and just go as this big group and switch off driving. We did that when we went to Kingman, Arizona. We've done it a couple times going to Redmond, Oregon for the Redmond Nationals out there. Good times, man. Just so much fun.
I think you mentioned the BMX community as a family a few times. It's funny, the bond you have with BMXers is so much different to any other kind of group that you might get involved with, isn't it?
It really is something special for sure.
Yeah. I've been on a lot of road trips, especially the last few years, and some of my more fond memories are just the road trips themselves more than the racing. The racing's always fun, of course, but you just, I don't know, there's just something about the journey of getting to and from a race, which is almost completely separate from the racing. You know, it's the time you spend bonding and just having a laugh with the people that normally you're banging elbows with. It's so much of a different time.
Absolutely. And that's part where the YouTube channel is supposed to come in to help, you know, show people more than just the track side of BMX. Like, so anytime I am doing something off the track off the BMX track, I try to incorporate either friends that also race and like bring them to do something different together. And we'll do, like, I did a video where my wife and I were Team Icy, and my friend and his wife, who he rides for the Boss BMX team, and, you know, we did Icy versus Boss disc golf round, and, you know, just do fun things like that. I really want to get more of those videos done too on my channel.
I did see one just recently where you did a race and then you went on a tour through some kind of heritage village. I can't remember exactly what it was. That's pretty cool to watch. And I'm fascinated by California anyway, but just to see some extra stuff apart from racing was awesome. So I really enjoyed the format.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you like that. I wasn't sure if people were going to enjoy the historical element or not, but I figured it's something I enjoy, so it's part of me anyway, so I can at least put it out there and see how it's received. I have a couple other plans for things similar to that when I go to certain tracks again coming up in the future. Like, next time I go down south, I do want to go visit like Calico Ghost Town out in the Mojave Desert and do a video there as well. And a couple other places I have in mind too. I just got to wait until we're heading those directions.
What's the next race you've got coming up?
The next major race I got coming up, if I can get my back to loosen up to go next weekend, there's going to be a state qualifier race at Lake Shasta in Northern California. I may or may not go out there. I do already have my five finishes in for my required state qualifier, so it would just be to go experience the track at on a bigger scale than a local race. So it's really not that crucial if I go. But the next major race will be the SoCal Nationals going down to Southern California. I think September 22nd, that weekend coming up. We'll definitely be hitting that up. I'm excited to go to a national in Southern California because, I mean, a lot of the major BMX companies that kept the sport alive when it was just hanging on by a thread are all based in Southern California. So I'm expecting that to be a really big weekend, and so I'm excited to go down there.
And what classes do you ride? I saw you ride Novice and Mixed Open, but what age brackets are they?
So Mixed Open, 31 and over Mixed Open is what I ride at Nationals. I also do 3640 Novice, and I do have a Cruiser, but Cruiser class in this era of BMX is tricky as an older guy because there's no separation from the pro classes. Like, there's no more pro Cruiser class. So, like, there's guys my age that run Cruiser that should be like Pee Wee Lee, like dudes that are like on my wall poster status, guys that I shouldn't be on a gate with. So, like, I will race my Cruiser at local races where I'm not like just completely embarrassed, to be on the gate. But I do have a Cruiser. It's a Yes brand, and I do love that thing. I mean, it rides so much like a 20-inch, and my 20-inch rides so much like a Cruiser that I was able to bounce back and forth, even if I do a local track that's got like 13 motos total, and I'm racing Cruiser in class, and I'll be like 3 motos apart. They're like, I can jump on my Cruiser, run that real quick, get behind the gate on my 20-inch immediately because I would have to, and just not feel an adjustment period at all. So I definitely do enjoy riding my Cruiser. I haven't been able to do it that much this year, but I am planning on getting a lot more Cruiser races underneath me for sure.
Can you ride Cruiser in Mixed Open?
You can, yeah. This past, let's see, when the Reno Nationals came, I've always only signed up for novice. So when I do go race my open class, I'm just on my 20-inch.
Oh yeah.
Most of the time, it's just because I need to travel light. So bringing an extra bike isn't always an option. But one of the dudes that I was lining up with, he was racing his class bike, and then he signed up for mixed open, and he tried to jump on the gate on his cruiser, and they told him he couldn't. And that's the first time I'd ever seen that. But he told me that they said to him he could only race his cruiser if he was signed up to race cruiser class and mixed open. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they would even know, this dude, but I don't know. I don't know if they were just giving him a issue or what, but I don't know. It makes me want to try it. It makes me want to sign up for a class, and then in my open class, jump on my cruiser class. As a novice, I should be allowed to race my cruiser in my class bike as my class bike anyway. So I don't know. I think I can get away with it. I'm thinking I might bust out the cruiser for open classes in the future.
So over here, we don't actually have novice. I mean, we kind of do, but it's a little bit different to the way it's structured in the US. Can you explain to people how you classify as a novice, and then what you need to do to move up to the next category?
Yeah, from my understanding of the USA BMX rules, as long as you have never competitively raced a BMX bike on a sanctioned track before, you're technically considered a novice, which means you're out there racing for the first time. You're racing other guys that are racing for the first time, and once you have achieved 10 wins or 3 national wins as a novice, you move up to the next classification, which is intermediate. And then after intermediate, I think you have 20 wins or 5 national wins, I believe, before you become expert. And then once you're expert, you could just win, and you don't need to go any higher. And that's when the guys really try to get nag one, because every victory, the point scale is for a novice to get first place, it's 25 points. For an intermediate to get first place, it's 50 points. And for an expert to get first place, it's 100 points. So once you've achieved your expert ranking, you really can start racking points up really quickly. And that's when guys start traveling all over just to rack those points up. And I think Harry Leary just got done doing a tour where he left his house and went on like a 4-month tour all across the United States. I think he went up to Canada and just raced until the weekend was over. And, along the way during the week, he would stop and do local races. And I mean, that's just, I've done that as a kid, like with my dad, where he would take his 2-week vacation from work, and it would just be, we're going to go from here to Colorado, and we're going to stop this day, and I'm going to race at this track. And then a couple of days later down the road, there's going to be another local race here we're going to stop at. And it's just like the whole way up and the whole way back on vacation, we were just stopping so you can race at local tracks. And it was like, that's something I would like to do. Even now as an adult, just, pick a destination, and on the way, stop at tracks, and on the way back, stop at more tracks.
Sounds like fun.
Absolutely.
And how does the open class work? Mixed open.
So mixed open, open means open wheel size. You can race whatever wheel size you want. Mixed open, more specifically, is going to be a mixture of novice riders, intermediate riders, and girls riders. And then you've got open class, which is reserved for just the experts. So it'll be girls experts and men experts racing each other, open wheel size. So you can race a 29-inch bike, you can race a 16-inch bike. I don't know why you'd want to do either of those, but you could, and anything in between,
You were saying you're on the heavy side for a BMXer. Have you ever tried like the larger OS20 wheels to see how they feel compared to 20-inch?
You know, I didn't bother because I mean, I grew up on a 20-inch, so I never thought, honestly, I would even ever be on a cruiser either. But when I started racing this time around, I decided I wanted to pick up a cruiser basically only for the specific reason to be able to stay limber on the track. Like, I thought that, okay, if I'm going to a national and I'm racing and I qualify first round in class, 6-7 hours later, I'll finally be ready for my main event. But if I'm also racing my cruiser, you know, extra laps, keeping the legs loose. So I kind of twisted my own arm and talked myself into spending the money to buy a cruiser. And being on a cruiser and being on my 20-inch, like, they feel so similar to me anyways that I don't feel the need to bother with doing oversized 20 or anything like that. Also because I still don't really understand them and what they are and everything like that. So like, it's just more things that I don't need to focus on. You know, it's like like, even still, like, if I was more concerned about it, I might upgrade my 20-inch. That's literally, you know, from 2006. Like, I'm out there on a bike that's, you know, 20 years old, you know, almost 20 years old. So,
being heavier, do you have to consider, say, stronger parts on your bike? Are you running, I don't know, chromoly forks and that sort of thing?
So, being a guy my size, I definitely err more on the side of strength versus weight reduction. So like, where you see that the most for me are my cranks. Like, I always have big beefy cranks. So like, I'm running the box M30 cranks right now, which are the biggest ones that I can get on my dropout because it's a European one. If I had an American, I would definitely be running the 35s, but my pedals are probably the biggest thing. Like, my whole life I've run croupy cages, and I have the same croupy cages on my bike right now still that I race to this day that I had on my bike when I was, you know, 14 years old.
Wow.
And they're still the original spindles, still the original bearings. Like, I haven't bent a spindle on those at all. And they're still, I mean, they're probably almost a pound a pedal, but I don't have to worry about them breaking. Every time I ever tried to use a different pedal, I either would snap a spindle or I just can't keep my feet on the pedals. Even the most recently, I tried those pedaling innovation pedals, and I absolutely could feel exactly what they're talking about, especially when it came to pumping the rhythm. Like, the power transfer gains that you get on those pedals are undeniable. I can't deny that it's an amazing hack for sure. But the problem with me is when I would be trying to like pedal over an obstacle, my feet were just coming off. And yeah, I couldn't keep my feet on the pedals if I would, only when I pedaled over something. Any other time, no issues at all. But to me, that was enough to be like, I get the power gains. Someone else can enjoy the pedals. I'm going to stick with my groupies because I might bust myself open in staging every time and be bleeding. But once I have my feet on those pedals, they're not coming off until I want them to, you know, so.
Do you paddle? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I do run my box carbon fiber forks. I've also ran answer daggers. In fact, my cruiser still has answer daggers. And both bikes, even with the carbon fiber, like, I can jump. I don't jump often, but I do jump, and I tend to be pretty smooth, so I don't worry about it too much. But I've never had problems at all with my box X2 forks. Before that, I had the box EX ones that were the really, really small ones. So I thought if I was going to break anything, it would be those ones, but I've never had any issues with them. Now I have bent chromoly forks in the past. I've broken spindles on pedals that weren't my Krupe cages, but the carbon fiber forks, man, they're legit. I'm here to say I race. I'm bouncing back and forth anywhere between 315 and 325 pounds any given week, and I put them through their paces. And if I can beat the crap out of those things, I don't see them being a problem for many other riders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you pad up when you race? You got elbow guards, knee guards, all the rest of it? No.
I wear my helmet and I wear gloves, and that's where it stops. I just have never felt comfortable. Like when I put pads on, I just feel like I can't move. And not only does it feel restrictive in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to move as well. It's just a constant distraction. It's like as if you had like a rock in your shoe. It may not be like directly affecting your ability to pedal, but it's something that's distracting you that could potentially lead to an unnecessary mistake that could potentially get me hurt. So even though I have tried padding up, like it just doesn't work for me. I'll just take the injury.
I noticed your signature is the horns in the helmet. And yeah, the horn just fell out of your helmet before too, by the way.
I just need more Viking spit.
What started you with the horns in the helmet? Was that right from the get-go?
Close. So it was by the end of my first season. So I started in January 2019. Fast forward to October, I just wanted to, fun Halloween race season. We were having a Halloween race at Spreckles Park in Manteca, where the IC team's stationed from. And so I was like, what would be fun? Let's see, let's do a Viking. So I got the horns and I went to Spirit Halloween with my helmet, and I was just looking for something that I could fit in the vent hole there. And these black horns, you just twist them right in like that. And usually they stay, but this time it just was bouncing around in my helmet bag, so I didn't make sure it was stuck in there. But put those in my helmet. My wife made me this fur costume and everything, and I had so much fun doing it that even after that Halloween, I'm like, I think I'm going to keep the horns for a little while because it's cool. And then I went to a couple state races, a couple nationals, and then during the state series, I was at Elkhorn BMX just outside of Sacramento, California, and Eric Grindle, who's one of the best BMX announcers for USA BMX, was there, and he was announcing the race. And next thing you know, he just started saying the Mad Viking, and I was like, I could hear him while I was racing, and I was like, the Mad Viking? I like the sound of that. Like, I could do something with that. Oh, right. Racing. Yeah, I remember while he said it, I was like, oh, man. And then just all these ideas started popping into my head of what I could do with that to make it fun. And that's part of where the race and pillage came from, because I'm like, it just was like so perfect. I'm like, I need a catchphrase that's very Viking, but also BMX racing. And I'm like, what are Vikings known for? Obviously. Even though I don't have any Viking blood that I'm aware of. I think I'm mostly French and Scottish, but I don't know. But yeah, it was like race and pillage. Oh my God, it's perfect.
Did you stock up on horns just in case you lost them?
Every Halloween season, I will buy like 5 or 6 packages because I will lose one. And it's funny because like, no matter where I am, when I lose a horn, somehow it will always find its way back to me. So like we were in Las Vegas, I want to say it was July last year, and we were trying to carry way too many things from the track to the hotel room, and it was like the last day and we were just over it, and I'm like, damn it, I dropped one of my horns. And my friend's wife, who was also carrying way too many things, oh no, do you need me to go back and grab it? And I'm like, no, it'll find its way back to me. And no kidding, like 3 hours later, I got a picture on Facebook of someone holding a adult beverage in one hand and my horn in the other, and look what I found. And I'm like, see, because everyone knows if they find one who it belongs to. But at a certain point, the horns do get retired because they start to tear. And when a horn gets retired, I always find a little Viking to toss a horn to, and it just totally makes their day. It was time because I had in Reno, one of my horns just would not stay in my helmet, and like it was just this fiasco. And I'm like, I can't wait for this weekend to be over because I'm getting rid of these damn things and I'm going to put in some new ones. So the end of the race, it was Sunday, got my trophy, went and grabbed the bike that I was selling off the fence. And as I was walking back past the tunnel, I saw a couple of kids on their scooters messing around at the end of the tunnel. And they were chatting with me all weekend, so they knew who I was. And I was like, oh, hey, guys, come here. And one of them, as he's coming up on this scooter, he sees me pull one of my horns off my helmet, and he just goes, no way. And I was like, yeah, buddy, come here. And I tossed him the horn, and he's like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I took the other one off and I gave it to his friend, and he's like, oh man, I already have one, but I'm gonna give this to my friend. So it's so fun because it's so simple for me to just take off this horn and hand it to this little kid, but it makes an impression on them that lasts forever. And I love that, you know.
You mentioned race and pillage before. That leads on to your merchandise. It appears on a couple of your T-shirt designs, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Do you want to tell people where they can find your merchandise?
Yeah, for the time being, I do have a print-on-demand site that you can go to, which is www.storefrontier/Mad Viking. And you can find my merch there for now. My goal by the end of this year is to have my own website where people can access my merch. The Store Frontier thing definitely makes it easy, but like I feel like with all the fees and everything that acquire via Store Frontier, I feel like a customer just has to pay a little too much for me to feel okay with it. So I'm also looking for an alternative solution to supplying my merch and my brand and everything like that. Because if it were up to me, if I could afford to do it, no one would ever have to pay for any of my stuff. Like I would just give it out to everybody all day long. But I also need money to race. So, you know, as long as people like, if I get like reimbursed to where that shirt or that hat didn't cost me anything out of my pocket, that's fine with me, you know. So I am looking for alternative solutions. And once that goes into effect, madvikingbmx.com will be the place you're going to want to go. That currently doesn't exist yet, but I am working on it.
I was just trying to get the website to load up so I could have a quick look at the T-shirts, but there were some really cool designs there. Who does the design work for you?
Everything is concept by me. I suck with art, so like I will do my best to like draw a rough idea of what my brain is thinking, and depending on the artwork, like I will go on to Fiverr and hire a designer to put it on to design it for me. Or there's a couple of designs on there, like the Race and Pillage logo that you've been seeing that has, the helmet head with the Race and Pillage. That one was designed by Tim Fuzzy Bostock of TFB Designs, old school NorCal BMX legend. Growing up, he and I are almost the same age, and he was always just this like amazing guy on a bike doing freestyle and everything like that. Never really got into racing until like 2020, I think 2019, 2020, when the pandemic hit. All of a sudden it was like, that guy looks so familiar, and I was like, that guy rides so familiar, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Fuzzy. so it was cool to reconnect with him at the BMX scene. But now that he does graphic work and stuff like that, he owns his own graphic shop in Gilroy, California. He's done a lot of my stickers. He's designed that Race and Pillage one, and there's also another one that is kicking axe and making mains that looks like it's on a BMX chain wheel. He designed that one too.
And there was another one that I said that I liked earlier, the Berserker flat pedal T-shirt.
Oh yeah, the flat pedal Berserker. See, that was another concept for me where I'm like, man, it would be so cool to have like a throwing axe, but the axe was a pedal and a crank arm. And so, I rough sketched it on a piece of binder paper with a pencil, and I went on to Fiverr, and I hired someone to design that for me, and I am really stoked with how that turned out too.
And there was another one that was like a piece of art. I remember, it won't come up on the screen for me, but I think it had you on a bike, and it was it's starting to come up now. So it's let me see. Well,
I called that one the Metal Race and Pillage.
yeah. So did you come up with that concept as well?
Yeah, it was. I wanted a shirt because before I was racing BMX again, I had I spent a lot of time doing a local radio show where I had a 3-hour show with I was the co-host. There was a host of the show, and we had a 3-hour show every Saturday where we played a lot of local metal bands. So it got to a point even where we had gained enough popularity that we put on our own festival. And so we got a lot of local bands and a couple of traveling international bands together. And we had I think 15 bands in total. It went from 2 in the afternoon until midnight. We had Metal Militia sponsored the event. So they sent us boxes and boxes of stuff to give away for the raffle. We had the raffle was benefiting the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So all the money generated from the raffle went straight to the charity. So it was just and Metal Militia sent the host and myself enough clothes, top, bottom, and hat to have a new a new full head to toe Metal Militia outfit every day of the week, which was really cool. Because even since high school, I've been a big supporter of Metal Militia, and most of my wardrobe always was Metal Militia anyway. So it was pretty cool to get those guys involved in something. But I wanted to come up with a design that kind of bridged my life from then to now. And I wanted it to be me, BMX, but also super metal T-shirt style. And so, yeah, I hired a guy on Fiverr who specialized in metal T-shirt design, and I'm like, I want me on the bike. Here's a picture of what that looks like, and I don't know, just make it look metal as hell, graveyards, blood, guts, gore, whatever, man. Just go for it. I trust your artistic creativity, and that's what it came up with.
I think the only thing missing is crushed skulls or something on the ground.
Yeah. Maybe for the part 2, the second version, maybe.
What's that?
Maybe for a second version coming up, we'll have to make it a little different.
Yeah, they're great. Looks like the T-shirts are between $15 and $30. 15 and.
I have all my kids' shirts are at $15, and I think the T-shirts go up to $25, and then there's a drop-down menu where you can access other things that aren't T-shirts. I'll have tank tops and hoodies and beer cozies, and there's even baby onesies and all kinds of stuff. But that's just what the storefront tier platform allows me to offer clients.
Wow, a lot of range there, which is really cool.
Yeah.
What would you say was your most popular T-shirt?
I think the metal one. I think that one got the most attention when it came out. Everybody wanted to get one. I think the one that I sold the most of was the F COVID one, where it was the word censored with the Viking head logo. Just It's like the F Cancer brand, but COVID when that was pissing everyone off. So that one was popular for a couple of years.
I reckon what we'll do is we'll finish up here. We've been talking for quite a while, and obviously there's a lot more to talk about. So maybe somewhere down the track we'll catch up again and do a bit of a follow-up and check in and see how you're going. So thanks very much for spending the time with us, and I guess tell people what the name of your YouTube channel is and how they can get in touch with you via Instagram and Facebook and whatever else you're using.
Yeah, so YouTube, you can just find me, Cheeto Viking, I believe it is. Facebook, you can find me, Cheeto Drury, my last name, Drury. I also have a Mad Viking page, but everything I post is on my main YouTube or my main Facebook anyway, so you guys can follow it there if you want to. I do have an Instagram. I don't post much there, but it is there. If you want to look for Cheeto the Mad Viking, it's there. Other than that, you guys can always find me at the Nationals. Come up, say hi. I'm happy to, take a picture. I get a lot of photos with people. I'm happy to do it. Autographs, all for it. I might have some stickers on hand. I'll always give those out for free. So if you ever guys see me anywhere, come up, say hi. I've always got something on hand that I'm happy to give out.
Did you want to do a shout out to your sponsors as well while you got a chance?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, Icy, super stoked to ride for such a cool sponsor. They've actually been sponsoring the BMX team for this is their 21st season being a BMX team, which is really impressive if you think about it, because BMX, when it comes to sponsors, like, you don't see them stick around that long unless it's like a bike company. When it comes to like corporate sponsorships, they usually don't last very long. So the fact that IC has been supportive of this BMX team for 21 years now is just absolutely amazing. So as long as IC is the team, I am honored to be a part of it, and I will continue to do what I do. They let me have free range to just be who I am, ride how I want to ride. I don't have any like requirements to have to do certain races or have to ride certain bikes or anything like that. I just get to be me and do what I do. So super appreciative to be a part of that team. Co-sponsoring IC as of last year, Box Components came on board and said it's amazing that this team has been around for 20 years. We want to be involved in supporting that legacy. So Box Components came in and got involved with that, and in doing so, I actually got to become really close friends with Toby Henderson, who is the owner of Box Components and Race Inc., and just a long list of incredible contributions to the BMX community. And he's such a solid guy, and I'm just super stoked to have his support. And the fact that his bike parts are strong enough to hold up to a guy like me, but they also really make a huge difference on the track. You definitely feel the difference with the oversized technology. If you're the kind of rider that prefers a stiff ride, definitely look into the oversized parts, because it really makes a big difference. A lot more power transfer to the ground, getting you up to speed a lot faster, a lot less power loss in flexing parts. So like Box Components, super appreciative to be supported by you guys. And I'm also an affiliate with the company as well. So I do have my own affiliate link that people can use when they go to shop at boxcomponents.com. Cheeto15 is the code. Just put that at the checkout when they ask for your promo code, and that'll save you guys 15%. And get you guys some of the best parts in BMX and save yourselves a little bit of money too.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, like I said, and I definitely want to talk to you again soon. Just the last little bit, you made me think, we need to talk about teams. We need to talk about Frogtown, actually. That's one of the more recent videos of yours that I watched. So we're definitely going to get you back again very, very soon.
Anytime. I'm happy to be back. Always Happy to hear from you guys to check in, however long or short that may be.
Thanks, mate.